This content marketing strategy is an absolute game changer because it's a simple 5-phase approach to business that's relatively fast, can generate significant revenue early on, and has a high, near 100% probability for success in the end. It will help you identify, grow, and monetize an audience with massive trust faster than any other content marketing strategy out there, and then provide the money and market insight needed to create a highly profitable and sustainable business that can be scaled or sold for 6 figures in a fairly short period of time. Now, I've used just a part of this strategy myself to generate millions of dollars worth of sales and financial independence for a period of time in my life, as well as get 6-figure offers on some of my businesses. So this has worked for me in the past, and what I'm about to share with you is the exact same strategy I am currently using in all of my business efforts right now. In this video, I'm going to reveal what the strategy is, including all of the steps in an easy to follow flowchart, and along the way explain how it has a very high, almost 100% probability for either a successful product launch or about a 6-figure exit shortly after generating your first revenue from the business. But first, what is a strategy? Or more importantly, why should entrepreneurs have a strategy, and what happens if they don't? I like what this Harvard Business Review video with about 3 million views on YouTube said, because I think it answers all 3 questions very nicely. Roger Martin, a professor at the University of Toronto, defines a business strategy as an integrative set of choices that positions you on a playing field of your choice in a way that you win. My first takeaway from this is the part about winning. Business is a game, and if you want to win, you should have a winning strategy. Imagine if the greatest chess players, sports teams, or gamers in the world didn't use any strategy. How crazy would that be? If you don't have a strategy, you're more likely to struggle and lose. What is the strategy, you ask? Well, I call it the content first business, or just content first content marketing. Have you ever heard of it? Here's the thing, I've never seen anyone actually break this strategy down fully into an actionable set of steps and decisions quite like I have with complete intent up front. I think a lot of other entrepreneurs that are doing anything resembling a content first content marketing approach leave a lot of this out. Now, there are 5 phases to my ideal form of this strategy, and each phase has 2 to 4 steps each, as well as a couple of key decision points along the way. So it's best to watch this video from beginning to end and not skip forward. Phase 1 is research, and it consists of 4 important steps. The steps are to create a list of niches, niche and keyword research, initial product research, and finally, pick a niche. Now in step 1, when you create a list of niches you would like to venture into for a potential business, the key for this step is to focus on niches where you and your team, if you have one, will have both strong interest and/or expertise that will give you an unfair advantage in the niche. Narrow the list down to 3 to 5 strong niches. By the way, I'm putting a link to the PDF version of this flowchart in the description so you can download it now or after you watch this video if you like. The PDF version has all of the critical parts for each step bulleted out within the step, as well as some other helpful templates that can be filled out as you go through the process, so definitely check that out if you're interested. Now back to phase 1. If you need help figuring out what your unfair advantages might be in this step, there's an entire book on the subject called The Unfair Advantage. You may want to check that out to get a better idea about what I'm talking about here, but we will also talk about some examples of unfair advantages later in the video. Now notice that in the research phase, we are not tied to a single product idea or niche up front. We are allowing ourselves to look at the best opportunities or playing fields so that we can position ourselves to win every step along the way. This might be hard for both new and experienced entrepreneurs who tend to get attached to an idea for a product or a niche they like a lot, but this strategy requires that we first let go of those attachments so we don't limit or bias our efforts to quickly attract what organic traffic we can to both convert into a trusting audience and tailor ideal products to later down the road. This is key and begins to explain why this strategy makes content marketing and the overall path to success faster, but stay tuned because later I totally destroy the myth that content marketing takes too long later in the video. Speaking of destruction, could you please do me a huge favor and just absolutely destroy that like button for me if you are getting good value out of this video so far? I've always liked that word, destroy, because it has my name in it. Moving on to step 2 of the research phase, it's time to start investigating those niches to gather data and evidence that at least one is worth pursuing. In this step, you'll want to start looking at and start documenting what information gaps are there in those niches. What is the volume, value, and competition of the keywords on various discovery platforms? Are there sub-niches or platforms where you could niche down in the beginning? What's the volume, value, and competition of the keywords for those sub-niches on various platforms? Can you make better quality or just different, more standout and entertaining content from the competition? All of these questions should be easier to answer if you have a strong expertise in the niche. When I say discovery platform, I'm talking about any of the major platforms out there like Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Pinterest, anything that has a lot of traffic, search features, or an algorithm that recommends content to people browsing them. Finally, notice we can also look at these platforms as niches themselves. In fact, expertise on how to build an audience on a particular platform could be considered an unfair advantage. The ultimate test of a good niche and your unfair advantages is to go to one of the two most competitive search engines in the world, Google and YouTube, and search for the keywords for your various niches there. Ask yourself this question: would you fully expect that given your unfair advantages, expertise, and authority in a niche, that the content you are going to create deserves to at least be on the first page of the search results? And even the number 1 and number 2 spots on the search results for at least some of the keywords? If not, just note that and continue on for now. Step 3 is to do initial product research. For this step, think of as many recurring or reoccurring revenue product ideas as possible for each niche and write them down. Also, look at what types of products others are selling and write those down. Are they just making money with ads, sponsored content, and affiliate products on their sites, or do they have their own branded products? Also, write down as many newsletter and membership site ideas you think might also be a good fit for the traffic and audience in this niche. For those, we want to make sure we come up with really good ideas. For newsletters, as an example, we want to be one of the 2 or 3 newsletters in their life that are so good they really look forward to actually opening them most of the time. And recurring revenue products like membership sites or SaaS tools that a customer gets automatically billed for every month is better than a reoccurring revenue product like candles or tea that are consumable that a person might reorder but not automatically. Once we have done all this research, we will sit down with the results in step 4 and pick the niche with the highest volume and value keywords that you think you could compete in or contribute to. We also need to make sure we think there are 1 or more high margin, recurring or reoccurring revenue products in the space that would be easy to develop. And this is where we reach our first critical decision point with a content first content marketing strategy. We need to make sure we are checking some boxes before we move on. Do we have at least one niche where we have an unfair advantage with good recurring revenue product possibilities? And do we think we have a way to deplatform the audience to our own sticky website content or a newsletter via lead magnets? We want to make sure we have this to reduce the reliance on search engine and social media traffic and to protect against algorithm updates or new competitors in the space. If so, we can move on. Otherwise, we should go back to step 1 or maybe one of the previous steps to see if we can add more to our research. Phase 2 is the testing phase, and there are just 2 steps here, and those are to set up our own website and social media account and to start promoting content. The website and social media account we set up are going to be our initial sources of traffic, data, and feedback. This is where we will start posting content and testing our content ideas. For the website, I recommend getting started with a blog or a landing page with a blog attached to it. Then pick a singles discovery platform or social media account that's the best fit for the audience and the type of content you intend to produce. Focus on the blog and one discovery platform for now. It's critical to have your own web presence where your content and the value it provides can live outside any other platform. So make sure you also set up Google Search Console and maybe also Bing Webmaster Tools for your site as the default discovery platforms and upload your sitemap to them. That way Google and Bing can report if they have any issues crawling your site and how frequently they are crawling them. Now, good examples of social media channels to start posting content and building a following on are Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest, just to name a few. And on most of those platforms, I'm talking about setting up the business pages, professional accounts, or brand accounts linked to the business email account and assets. This is really important. The reasons why will make sense in later steps, but despite all of the talk these days about developing a personal brand, this strategy works best if you have a way to decouple from your personal brand up front or an easy way to do that later down the road at the very least. And on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, you don't get all the data you really need on your audience and the stats on your content's distribution without opting for the professional account and business suite or whatever they call it. Once the website and social media account of choice is set up, it's time to start testing ideas and posting content. You can start by using keyword research you did previously and spinning other successful content for those keywords and add perspective and expertise to make your content better or stand out from the crowd. But also try to fill those information gaps with unique content as well. Post to both the blog and social media. You can use the blog to sort of script or outline the social media posts, or go the other direction and turn social media content into blog posts. See what topics, ideas, and information is attracting the most interest in terms of impressions, click-throughs, and subscriptions. The key is to create top-of-funnel content that is genuinely helpful and not promotional in any way at this point. Try creating more of the content that is working to further increase traffic, views, and subscriptions or followers. After you have given it a good effort creating, I would say, 20 to 100 pieces of content, those numbers depend on platform, of course, over the course of 2 to 4 months, it's time to make a decision. Is the content gaining traction? Are traffic, views, subscribers, etc. increasing month after month? A really good sign would be that brands are reaching out to you. This can begin to happen with a surprisingly small amount of followers and content if you are doing a good job, because brands are always looking for creators with potential these days. If the answer to the question is no here, then we may want to consider putting this project on the back burner and letting it marinate for a while. Sometimes content takes a while to get indexed for the right keywords or put in front of the right audience on these discovery platforms. Sometimes an algorithm update can help. Sometimes our subconscious mind just needs time to come up with new ideas and content formats. Sometimes we just need to work on our marketing skills. We can still poke at the niche and create content for it as a lower priority, but if you have created a bunch of content and aren't getting enough traction to motivate you to continue on, then it might be a good time to move on to one of the other niches on your list or come up with a new list of niches to try. If, however, you are gaining traction, it's time to move on to phase 3, the monetization phase. And this is where things really start to get interesting. There are 3 steps here, and they are find affiliate products and partners, start building an email list, and start promoting. When looking for affiliate products and partners, we want to consider what content did well in the audience previously that viewers found most helpful in solving their problems, and apply to affiliate programs we think that align with that content. That's where real money can be made, and viewers of your content will really appreciate a little endorsement and promotion. Impartial product reviews are a good example of helpful content, and almost every company has affiliate programs these days, so it should be possible to get a good fit. It's also okay to try to reach out to brands with good alignment for potential sponsorships if they haven't already contacted you at this point. Keep in mind, they are going to take a look at your existing content to decide whether they want their brand associated with your content and to decide how much it's worth to them. So good lo-fi content is okay as long as it's doing well and will have good brand association with potential partners. Next, in order to really start intentionally building our email list, we'll need to develop lead magnets or free bribes like really useful PDF guides, ebooks, spreadsheets, calculators, etc. that we can use to incentivize people to sign up for our email list. After that, we'll need to keep the email list warm by sending out regular emails no less than once per month. These regular emails don't have to be hard. They can just be recaps of the best content produced that month or even other people's content, which can really help build trust with your audience early on. Finally, the last step of this phase is to start promoting our affiliate products and lead magnets in our mid and bottom funnel content where it makes sense, but try to only promote calls to action on affiliate products no more than 25% of the time or less at this stage. Once we have about 40 more pieces of content with about 10 of those promoting lead magnets or affiliate offers that have been out in the wild for at least a month or 2, it's time to move into the optimization phase where there are only 2 steps: measure results and continue posting, and optimize conversions. When measuring results and continuing to post content, look at what content, traffic sources, affiliate products, and sponsorships generate the most revenue and also the most email signups. Try to really understand the underlying needs, wants, and desires of the incoming traffic and the established audience by looking at what is actually converting and why. Try to create more content that speaks to these needs, wants, and desires to see if it performs the same or better, to check to see if your detective work is correct. Then in the next step, try to optimize conversions in all the content. This is an extremely important step to do before we move on to our next decision point, because you might be able to literally double or even triple your revenue simply by swapping affiliate products into the same content in some cases, or in other cases by creating a piece of content if you have to try to promote one affiliate product over the other, which is why I show this arrow back to the previous step here. Some of your affiliate partners might have significantly better sales funnels, do retargeting or do it better than others, and some just simply work better with the traffic and audience you have. So it's one of the most effective, highest ROI efforts you can do, especially the first time you do it. Increasing click-through rate is another optimization to try in this step. If click-through rate is only 1%, for example, it can be easy to get it up to the 2 to 3% range, which represents double or triple the traffic to the offer and a similar increase in conversions usually follows. Increasing click-through rate is probably also your best bet for doubling or tripling email signups as well. 70 to 80% of the time I tried this, I came close to doubling or tripling revenue by switching affiliate offers or getting the click-through rate up, or a combination of both. And after maybe a couple months and a few iterations through this loop, it is a good time to make one of the most important decisions of all in this whole strategy. It's now time to ask some very important questions. Are you still interested in this business? Is the business and content it generates gaining trust and authority in the niche? Is revenue increasing? And the most important question of all, now that you have some insight into the needs and wants and desires of the market segment that you have actually been able to reach, are you seeing a strong potential for a highly profitable product that you can use to either replace or complement your affiliate revenue? Again, you don't have to check all of the boxes here, but the more you check, the better. Either way, this is a very exciting stage, because if you have made it this far, you have built assets that are going to be making some amount of money, probably somewhere between a few hundred to maybe $1,000 per month on the high end, and that's worth something. Take a look at a site like flippa.com to get an idea of how much you could sell something like this for. And this is why this strategy works best if it's not linked to your personal branding efforts, if you don't have to. You know, you can use your real name in all of the content, especially if you are an expert in the field. It's all about positioning yourself for a win, even if you aren't making as much money as you had hoped at this point. So the decision to fold and sell what you've built, or hold and continue on, is really a win-win decision. The only thing you really want to avoid here, in my opinion, is to put a cash flowing business on the back burner in any way. You can see that's not an option here, and it's not a tweak I recommend you make to this strategy, because I have made that mistake before and it doesn't end well. It's best to move right into the next phase right after attempts of optimization have been made. The next phase is productize, and yes, I checked, that is a word, at least in some dictionaries. In this phase, we either decide we are going to sell the business or develop an ideal product for at least a portion of the visitors and the established audience that knows, likes, and trusts you. This will ensure, with a high probability for success, that the product launch will be successful. There are 4 steps in the productize phase, and the first one is, of course, to keep generating content. Now, this could get a little tricky with product development going on in parallel, but we still want generating content to be the top priority and for product development to be secondary for now. That said, this is a content-first content marketing strategy, not a content-only strategy. If you aren't going to sell the business, getting through these other steps, product R&D, product development, and scale and sell, is critical to deplatforming your audience and web traffic to establish a sustainable business. Creating your own successful recurring revenue product eliminates or reduces the reliance on platforms like Google, YouTube, Facebook that can change their algorithms or ban your account in an instant without any reason or recourse to appeal it. Fortunately, by this point, developing a product is much easier than it would otherwise be in a product-first approach. In the product R&D step, we already have a ton of customer behavior and sales data we can draw on to determine what the highest performing product is likely to be. We also have a ton of new visitors every day and an established trusting audience we can survey to perform the mom test on and ask to purchase the product even before it's been developed and released by offering them sweet one-time deals for their support. Then we move on to product development, and we can use revenue being generated by the content side of the business to partially or completely fund the development of the product. Newsletters and membership sites are usually safe catch-all products if there aren't better product options to explore. But the current newsletter could also be evolved into a weekly offering that adds more value and could even be kept free to subscribers by being developed into a product for advertisers that you sell ad spots and sponsorships to, B2B or business to business. The final step of the productize phase and this whole strategy is to scale and sell the business. The name of the game here is to try to find product market fit and create a content engine to scale organic customer acquisition way up. In this step, we also want to get the business fit to be sold, even if we don't have any intention of selling it in the foreseeable future. Offers could come in or other unexpected things could happen at any time, and it's best to be ready to sell at any time. How much could we sell the business for? Let's back into the answer with a slightly different question. How much monthly recurring revenue would we need for a 6-figure exit and a 7-figure exit? The answer might surprise you. Check out acquire.com to get some good data on how much more established businesses are potentially worth. From that data, it looks like you could sell a business for 6 figures if it's generating as little as $2,000 in monthly revenue, and 7 figures for a business generating $20,000 in monthly revenue. Now that's great, but unfortunately everything I just told you about this content marketing strategy is nearly useless at this point because you are still missing 2 critical pieces of information you absolutely need before you can be successful with it. Fortunately, I've created 2 more videos that can provide that information now that you have seen and understand what the strategy is and roughly how it works. One video contains examples of other companies that use this exact same strategy to achieve a $37 million exit, and also another business that used this strategy and now makes $100 million every year. And the other video in this series talks more about the unique advantages of this strategy and destroys the myth that content marketing has to take a long time. So I strongly suggest you check out one of those 2 videos before you decide whether or not to use this absolutely game-changing strategy. If you aren't seeing the videos here yet, then please subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be notified when those come out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.